Hello, everyone, and welcome to 12 AutoCAD Tricks You Need to Know webinar. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And today's presenter is Andrea Gonzalez, our applications engineer. By the end of this webinar, we will introduce refreshing comments to improve your workflows, and that is definitely worth 30 minutes of your time. Throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point on the left-hand corner. You can ask Andrea to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media and website. Also, make sure to check our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or rewatch it at your own time. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Andrea.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Gonzalez, and I am an AEC application specialist. And on behalf of MicroCAD Training and Consulting, I would like to welcome you here today in our 12 AutoCAD tricks you need to know. So, it's well known that AutoCAD is a software that we have been using for decades. And if we are not a user, we have heard about it at least once in our life. Therefore, we may think that there is nothing new to learn about it, but given the powerful software it is, we always will be able to find a better or different way to do our tasks. Autodesk also has a big team behind doing improvements and developments that make a big effort for meeting the market and customer needs that comes with the industry evolution, what ends up in new features that you might be interested in. This webinar is designed for refreshing some comments that maybe are undervalued, other ones that have been forgotten, or even some that we didn't know they exist. We will also share with you some interesting additions that have been coming out with the last new versions. And we will include some of the coolest features of our MicroCAD AutoCAD tools, which is a great set of tools that we offer, and you can purchase it from us singly or as part of our support package. I'm showing an overall view of what we are going to see today. So let's go ahead. The first tip is the quick dimensioning option. This is an awesome tool that it's going to help you to be more productive. Let's say you are reviewing a plan where you only see the architectural drawing as the one I have in here. The dimensions are not shown, but the most important thing is the plan has been drawn with the scale very accurate according to a field survey. This is a very good news with this option. You don't have to click on the dimension tool endless times, and you don't have to add the dimension and make your plan crowded. So if I go to the Utilities tabs and if I click here on Measure, I have the Quick Dimensioning option tool in here. So if I do clicking here, I'm going to move my cursor in this area. And on the screen, I quickly hands measurement information. Here I can check a couple of radial dimension, angles, lengths, and distances between lines. It is going to measure almost all objects except custom objects, hatch patterns, or dimensions. You can do your verifications at lightning speed, making this tool very powerful, useful, and also a time saver option. Let's move to our second tip. Our second tip is create a speedy viewport. I'm sure you will love this tool as I do. This tool makes part of our amazing AutoCAD productivity tools, and this one is just only one of the wonderful options it has on it. It allows you to create a viewport in a much different way than we were used to. With this tool, you can do it from the model space, so it does make things a little bit easier for you. So I will show you how this looks like. If I go to my MicroCAD AutoCAD tool tabs, I have a tab in here that is called Layout, and the Create Viewport is here. So if I click on Create a Viewport, I get this window pop up, and it will show the area of my viewport. You can set the margins, and here in your viewport settings, you can select the layer where you want to place your viewport. You can select your scale. I'm just going to select this one that works for me with this drawing. And then you can unlock or lock the viewport from here as well. So if I click here in OK, here we will see the area that will be covered in my viewport. So I will click in here. By doing this, you will avoid many clicks and steps versus the old-fashioned way to do it. The most important thing to use this tool properly is that you must have a layer created and a title block. So this is a super cool option. Our third tip is the perfect porch. I'm a super fan of clean, neat, and nice AutoCAD drawings. I know, and I almost sure that you know the porch command because this exists a long time ago in AutoCAD. But I will show you an awesome update that came up in 2020. This update includes the possibility to show you why something can be porched. So the first thing you can notice, it is so much easier to find it than before. If you move to your Manage, it was added on the ribbon. There is a new panel called the Cleaned panel where it has some other cool features. Doesn't matter where you click on Porch or find non-portable items, you will get the same window. So once the window pops out, you will see a great new previews as well. You can look at individual objects, you can get a visual view of them, which we didn't have before, and there is a pair of individual checkmarks added too. So I have added in here a test layer, and we will be able to look at the item that doesn't allow me to delete a layer because there is something in there. So if I click here on my layer, and I can see the objects. If I click here in this icon, it closes the porch dialog box so I can see the troubling item. It is in here and this is a very small object. So once it's located, I will be able to delete it and then delete the layer. This for sure will make your life easier for sure if you are in one of these cases or if you have been in one of these cases. Let's move to our tip number 4. I think these are on my top of favorite tools and are also part of our productivity tools package. How does it work? So based on the objects of your drawing, this will create a list with its respective symbol in 1 second. And that versus doing it line by line, text by text, block by block, it is a big amount of time you can save. So I'm going to select my MicroCAD AutoCAD Tools tab. And here in the Annotate panel, I have 3 options for creating a block legend, a hatch legend, and the line type legend. All of them works very similar, but the one I like the most is the block legend. So I'm going to do clicking here, and I'm going to have this window. So I will be able to select which ones I would like to keep or I will not like to add. If you have a table style, you can add it on it and you can change the title in here. So I'm going to do click here in OK. I'm going to add my fixture legend. And then it populates an awesome legend for me and it took me 1 second. The other cool thing is these are also regular tables, so you can edit them. If you want, you can add rows and columns to the table, and that makes them very versatile. So let's say I just want to change this for capital letter. I just want to make this description short. And I just want to fix the column size. So yeah, This is super cool because you are able to edit it and do whatever you want with it as if you have an Excel file. The next tip is the tip number 5. The tip number 5 is the command divide. So this command has been in AutoCAD for a long time, but I think it is very important to bring it here because it is a very valuable command and it's worth taking advantage of. It is very useful when you want to divide any element in spaced equal segments. So if I go to the Home tab on the ribbon underneath the Draw panel, I'm going to click on this icon. So this is the divide command. So I'm going to click in here. So I have this bathroom area and I want to divide this area in order to install a pair of panels that will have WCs on it. So I'm going to select the area or the length I want to divide. I'm going to enter the number of segments, let's say 4. And you can see anything because it doesn't physically break. It put points as marked, but we just have to make those points visible. For doing that, we have to go here in our utilities and select point style and just select one that is visible. So having this, I just can move this line, then copy, and I have my reference point for dividing this in equal segments. Let's try it again with the lavatories. I'm going to select the length. I'm going to add 4 segments as well. And here I also have my lavatories separated by equal distance. So this is another cool option as well. The next option is I want to show you is the auto constraint, and it is our tip number 6. This is an awesome trick that you're gonna love it. If you're a perfectionist and a little bit picky, for sure you are going to be mad if you see something like this, a vertical line that it is not exactly vertical, or an intent of 90 degrees angle that seems almost perpendicular, or a geometry that it is not totally closed. If you are reviewing a drawing or you are the one who is doing quality control and has to fix things like this one, for sure it will be a task that you wouldn't like to do and it will take a while for sure. So just as a reminder of this amazing tool, you can use the parametric constraint. So go to the parametric panel and in here, in this arrow, you can see the constraint settings. So what we would like to see is the auto constraint tab. Then you can check or uncheck the options you want to double check on your drawing. In my case, I want to check perpendicular, vertical, and coincident lines. And you can also move the order in what you want to be this thing to be reviewed. And you can apply changes, and you can also set the distance and angles for checking coincident objects. So in here, the distance has to do with the gap size. Depends on the drawing how big of a gap you are going to allow before AutoCAD won't fix it. So in this case, it means if the distance between two lines is equal or less than this value, it will fix it. So I'm going to click here in OK. I'm going to select my objects. I'm going to do auto constraint, and here it is. Now my lines are with 90 degrees. This line is vertical, and this small gap that were in here, it is not here anymore. So after reviewing, in case something has not been fixed, you could also do it one by one. But the idea is you do the correct settings here in the auto constraint priorities, and it will do everything for you. This one is tricky, but when you understand its ins and outs, you will take advantage of it for sure. The next one, our tip number 7, is the selection cycling. So this one is a very simple but useful option. As I have told you, I'm a super fan of clean plans and views in order all the people involved can read it, work, and understand everything what is happening in the drawing in an easy way. But unfortunately, that is not always the case. So for those undesirable situations, you are dealing with a very crowded overview, we have the selection cycling option. So I'm going to zoom in this area. For activating this option, you can do Control W, and you can go over the crowded area, and two little boxes will appear. When you click in there, you will see a box, and you will be able to select whatever you want by independent in that crowded area. So let's say I will select the polyline, and this is an easier manner for getting overlap selections, things that selections in areas that overlap or very crowded. You also can deactivate this option with Control W again. The next tip is the tip number 8, and is the drawing history. So with the pandemic, we started using other tools that allows you to work remotely but together with other people. That through platforms like OneDrive, Dropbox, or similar. This command works only for files in the cloud and came out in 2021, complementing the DWG Compare that came up in 2019. So let's say you just have a meeting with a client to get feedback, and you started to do updates, and during the review, the client said that a previous version of the plan is needed. You can pull the new drawing history palette to see the past versions of the drawing. So my version history is in here. I have another version in here, and I'm going to compare the version I am looking at with the last version. So as you can see in here, this palette allows you to filter previous version by who saved it, by the date it was modified, and it also shows you which changes you did on your drawing. And you also can set what you can see in which color you want to see, the options that you can see here, and you can manage whatever you want in here according to your needs. So this is especially helpful if you have multiple people working on the same drawing. The next command I would like to show you, and it is our tip number 9, it is the align. So this is a super awesome improvement that is included in our AutoCAD productivity tools that I already have mentioned you. So if you think that you need to align something, probably the most basic way for aligning it is rotating it or using the command align, which is a super cool option that also allows you scale the object in the same command if you want. So let's see this. This is very similar to this, but I am going to use the regular align option for doing it. So I'm going to write the command. I'm going to select my object, my first source point, my first destination point, and my second rep point. I want to scale. If I want to scale, I can do it, but I'm not going to do that in this moment. So no, and here it is. So you have to do clicks and clicks, and probably this is very tricky because you don't identify the destination point and all the things that the command asks you when you are in the command. So the AutoCAD tools includes an improvement on this command that make this thing much easier, and it is much more user friendly because it is very graphical. So I'm going to select the align command. I'm going to select the object I want to rotate, same thing. I'm going to select my reference line and it will show me some options. So as you can see, this is very, very graphical. So you don't have to guess what you are going to see at the end. I'm going to select this one, which is the same I have in here. And I'm going to select that I want to rotate my object. So I click in OK, and I have exactly the same thing, but I think this is probably much graphically and most user-friendly. This can be useful, for example, if you are working in a landscape plan where a lot of objects in there can have a big variety of angles. This probably will help you to be more accurate, to avoid misunderstandings, and therefore it will be time you are saving, which it is very important in our projects. This is another awesome option of our MicroCAD AutoCAD tools. And following this line, I'm going to show you another one, another option included in our MicroCAD tools. So this option, label, elevation, and slopes are not in AutoCAD out of the box. They are not improvements, and are also options that are included in our package. So they can be very useful on civil plan drawings, landscape plans, or in a sanitary or storm ground plan, just to give you an idea of whatever that includes elevation or slopes. So in here in the annotate panel, I would like to try the label elevation. So if I click here on the option, now in the command line, what we must define is a point or base. So I pick on the base. I'm going to pick the base point. Let's say it is in here. And I'm going to specify a number. I will say 0. Anything above this will be positive and anything below will be negative. So this is my 0 point, my base point. And once I'm done, I just can hit enter, and then I will have all these elevation points there set up for me. Let's say the label slope. This one functions a little bit similar. I just can go ahead and select the different slopes. So I'm going to select the slopes I have in here. I'm going to hit enter, and then a dialog box pops up this time. I can specify a couple different things here. I can change the draw style from 2D to 3D, so this will allow you to have the ability to use this in 3D, and then the output format, which could be grade or slope. I will keep the slope. Then we have the text offset, that would be the distance from the actual slope line that you are specifying, and you also can change the text height. If you have any positive and negative values, you can make them different color. I'm just going to click here in OK, and it creates those slopes for me. So instead of doing these calculations by hand, this tool will help you not only by saving time, but also being more accurate. These pair of tools are amazing because they do it very graphical and simply, and both are innovative and beneficial for you in terms of time. Let's move to our tip number 11. It is the command change. So I have these lines in here. So if I want to extend all these lines out to one point, I like them and make them the same size. Most of us would draw a line and do extend, but there is a faster way to do it and with no construction lines with this command. So I will type the command change. I'm going to select my lines, hit enter, and select the point where I want to align them. I'm going to do the same with all my lines. And here it is. I don't need constructions lines for doing this. This also works with trims. And there is a very important tip to use this command here. The thing that the command does if ortho is on or off is different. The option I just have shown you is with ortho on. Let's see what happens if I have the ortho option off. I'm going to click here. I'm going to write the command again. I'm going to select my object, same thing, hit enter, and specify a point. So look, this is very different. So depending on what you want, you can select your ortho option in on or off. Our last tip number 12, is the selection. So you may say, what selection? Yes, I know, sounds very basic, but there are many ways of making a selection in AutoCAD, like a simple window or manual selection by clicking on objects. But there are also many other ways of making specific type of selections using different tools like Quick Select, Filter, and other selection sets. Sometimes we just do this in automatic. So the first one and the first both and the most basic one are the window selection. The first one is our selection made from right to left, and you will see a color blue. This is the normal and most obvious way of making a selection in AutoCAD, and all the objects which are not completely inside this window will be selected. So in this case, only these two circles are completely inside my blue area, so these one are going to be selected. So if I do a bigger one, I will get everything. The second one is the crossing window. Is the left to right, and you will see a color green. This one is like normal window selection as well, but in this case, any object which even touches the boundary of the window will be selected. So look, I just have to touch it. So all the objects within this dash window, as well as objects touching the boundary of the window, will be included in my selection. So these two are very basic, but sometimes I do this like in automatic. I have another option which is called fence selection. So using this selection option, you can create a fence in such a way that all the objects touching that fence will be included in the selection set. So if I click somewhere, I'm going to do one click. I'm going to see the fence option here in the command line. So I'm going to do clicking here, and I'm just going to draw a line. So I'm just going to touch this one, and this one. And if I hit click, I'm just going to have in my selection what the fence line touches. Another way for doing a selection is the lasso selection. So this type of selection can also be called as the freehand selection set. It is relatively new, and it was introduced in the 2.15 version of AutoCAD. In this case, you can make a selection set simply by moving your cursor freely in the drawing area. So you have to click and hold at a point, don't release your mouse key, and then draw your cursor in the drawing area. So I'm just going to click in here, and I'm going to draw my freehand. So let's say I just want to have this thing. And here it is. So in this freehand selection also applies the window selection and crossing window. As you can see here, right to left is blue and takes everything that is inside my form, and left to right, which is green, takes all the objects touching the boundary. The next one is the chain type selection. So by using the command FS for fast selection, you can implement chain type selection of objects in the drawing area. For example, here I have many single and small lines, as you can see. This is just an example. So instead of selecting one by one, I can use FS and it selects all the objects touching the selected objects for me with one click. So I'm going to write FS and I'm going to select the touching objects. Here it is. This is a very easy but useful one. And the last one is the quick select option. So if I do right click, I'm going to find the quick select option in here. So this one is another simple yet powerful tool which can be used to make selection quickly from your drawing, and for sure you know it. But let's try something. So let's say I want to apply these conditions in my entire drawing in multiple objects. Let's say, now let's say I'm going to select circles, diameter, circles with diameter less than 24. So I'm going to click here in OK. So that means that I don't have any object in here that match with that condition. But I can do whatever I would like to do in here. You can make meaningful selection sets with this tool as well. So let's try it again. Quick select. Let's say I just want circles by color or by layer, and let's see what I get. So it is showing me these three circles. So I just have three circles in this drawing. So this is a very cool option as well, just another way for doing selection. And another one that I know that you have used a lot is select similar option. So let's say here, I'm going to click in this lavatory. I'm going to do right click and select similar. So as I told you, I'm sure that you have used this one and you can use it a lot, but I bet some of you didn't know you can also redefine the selection criteria of the select similar tool by changing its settings. So for doing this, I'm going to write down in my command line, select similar, and press enter. And here appears the settings. So in here, you can make and customize how do you want to make your select similar command. You have many options of doing this. So this is just a tip for customizing your select similar settings. And I'm going to give you a bonus. Remember that you can change your display options according to your preferences. So if I go here and I click here on options, in here, in the display tab, I will be able to change many things on my AutoCAD, how it looks. So like the color theme, like just take a look in here. I just want to make it light. And it will be wide for me. Then let's say I would like to change my crosshair size, like my cursor, the size of this thing. So personally, I like it in the way it is, but there are people that like just have it bigger. If I go back to my options, I also will be able to change some colors on here. The background, some people doesn't like the black color as the background color, so I'm going to do white. I'm going to change my grid major lines color. So normally they are gray, same color. So I'm going to change the color to red, apply and close, and see how this thing has changed. So there are a bunch of options for customize how your AutoCAD looks like. and fits your necessities or your personal taste. Now you know that this exists, you can take your time and play around a bit with this. So here we can see the grid. So as you can see, the major lines are red and the other lines are gray. So you can set the color of this if you want. This was pretty much, this was all. Thank you so much for joining us. We sincerely hope that all these tips have taught you something new or have opened the door to new possibilities for you for doing your day-to-day tasks. At the end of the day, our goal is sharing with you different ways for using your software more effectively, which means a better use of your time and better productivity. Also, to have some idea of how the functionalities of our productivity tools works. Regarding this one, and this is a pattern of trade, if you don't have them yet, you like what you see and you would like to have more information, I'm going to share here. I'm going to share our rep information or our marketing, sales, and person, which is Juliana Mejia. Um, and in the upper right corner, you will find a tab called AutoCAD Tools Info. So feel free to use whatever you want. So here is the contact information of Juliana of the rep. And if you want to use the AutoCAD Tools Info tab, you also can do that. I also would like to share with you our upcoming webinars. If you want to know something about other trades, other software, you are welcome to joining us. And now we have some time for questions.
Thank you, Andrea, for that wonderful presentation. And as Andrea just mentioned, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. I already see some questions coming in, and the first one is, does this toolkit work in any AutoCAD version?
Yes, yes, Juliana. Doesn't matter the version of AutoCAD you have. Once you execute the installer, it will appear on your ribbon.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is it possible to install the MicroCAD productivity tools together with some other third-party tools?
Yes, yes, for sure. The MicroCAD tools are regular plugin and can be installed along with any other plugin without affect or interfere them.
Okay. And the last question is, will there be any updates and what will they include?
Yeah, for sure. And you don't have to pay more for that without any additional cost. The updates include bug fixes, existing functionality improvements, and brand new tools if we have it.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn these topics in detail, you can always take a custom training with Andrea or someone else on our team. We also offer group classes online, so be sure to be checking the MicroCAD website for future webinars. And that concluded our webinar today. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Juliana, and thanks everybody. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, everybody. Bye bye.